What's going on, Los Angeles? It's LA Football Live here on a Tuesday. Typically, we'll be on a Monday, but your boy was at the Dodgers game last night, so I threw it all out of whack as we just got going. But happy to be back with you. We'll be back next week, normal time, 6:30 for Chargers Talk on Monday. But happy Tuesday to everyone out there. Jamal, my brother, how we doing?
Doing well, Rye. Excited to be live here talking with the Bold fam and doing a mock draft. I mean, that's just how much more off-season draft preppy can you get?
It's like what you had in college. You had the bros, you had the frat guys, you had all these
Right,
different
bros.
sects.
Yep,
Now
yep,
it's like draft people are in that like sector. It's like the
for sure.
draft bros. So
For
I guess
sure. There's somewhere between draft, the frat bros, draft bros, the hipsters, the nerds. You have them all in college. And I don't know where we fall, but we're certainly some archetype when it comes to the draft.
yeah, let's be real. Appreciate everyone jumping in here, but we're posing as draft bros. I mean, we love the draft and we study
Yep.
the draft, but I wouldn't
Yep.
consider ourselves like draft centric like some of our other people we know. I would be the first to admit I'm not as good at it as some of our other, even our colleagues on this network. Dan and Jake for Chargers Unleashed go heavy in the draft. Tad and Ummer running all our draft content for the
Those are our
Decide guys.
draft experts right there, Tad
Yeah.
Number, the Desai
Will
guys.
Decker. Will
Will the
Decker's
Trail
heavy
Decker,
in the
absolutely.
so, but we'll do our best. We're going to do a fun live mock draft. Real quick, shout out our best Trojans fan here, Dallas. Make sure you 30 minutes from now, we'll be doing Trojans talks. Make sure you jump over to that channel as we talk all things Trojans from 7 to 7:30. So, but happy to have you in here watching Charter stuff. So anything, Jamal, before we we don't got to sugarcoat too much, but before we just jump into the mock, anything you want to add or talk about
I'm
or
ready
get
to
off your
get
chest?
my Tom Telesco on. I had a dream last night that I dressed up as Tom Telesco for Halloween. I'm ready to do it. Let's do it.
Did you really have that dream?
I did not. This is just purely for you know effect, for drama,
Okay, for
to build
drama.
a hype. So I'm ready to do this. I'm
Is
even wearing a blue collared shirt to feel like to get my inner GM on.
is Telesco, you think, because I already know what Snead is. Les Snead
Yeah,
for the Rams.
yeah,
He's wearing flip-flops and probably a tank top in the draft
yeah.
room. Is
No.
Telesco a suit, a simple just blue collar button down, untucked, or is he like a three-quarter zip guy? You think?
Telesco to me is a button down with the 3/4, sort of over it, and then, with some slacks, not sneakers. He's going to have wingtips because he's not relaxed enough. He's a little
Hmm.
bit too clenched in the posterior on draft day for that. So I think that's going to be the wardrobe.
Hey, I'm a wingtip
Sneed
guy.
is flip flops. I mean, it's sort of the social network. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My hoodies in the dry cleaners, along with my FU flip flops. You pretentious d bag. So I love Les Snead, but he's giving off a Zuckerberg vibe in the draft room.
He's just so casual, always. I don't know if he's if Snead was always like, I'm trying to think back to his days in St. Louis, or if he's just been he's been GM for over a decade now almost. So I just wonder if he's been there long enough. He's like, I'm gonna dress how I dress, and
Yep.
we won a Super Bowl. I don't really care. F them picks. We'll do it for fun. But anyway, Chargers. We're using Pro Football Focus as our mock draft simulator. We're not doing any trades for this one. Maybe we'll do some trades next week or the week after if we do this again on our live. So let's just start this draft as we get to pick 21. That was very fast. I must have it on turbo. Let's go fast to give us some time.
Love it. Okay, pick
let's go
21.
mid fast. So let's just see real quick. Young Stroud go 1-2. Richardson 4, Anderson 5. We've seen this a lot as we've done this. Levy's 7. Any surprises here? No. Lucas Van Ness. So a lot of talk with Lucas Van Ness, Jamal, this is a guy that can go this high, 14, and could even fall all the way to the second round just because this edge position is fairly deep. So I'm curious to see where Van Ness ends up, but he goes 14 here. Joey Porter Jr., obviously a lot of hype around him, not just because of the name, but actually balled out fairly well. Kincaid and Bijan Robinson, two big names linked to the Chargers as fits, as pieces that fans want. both go before. Bijan Robinson pick 17. Let me just ask this. We don't have a ton of time to get into other teams, but this is obviously a simulation and not really happening. But does that surprise you at all with the Steelers just having Najee Harris 2 years ago?
Yeah, no, it does surprise me. But I mean, I think when you have a guy that you really believe in, I think that, depth be damn and sort of redundancy be damn, given the level of injury that takes place in this sport. So for me, Ryan, this opening pick, it's a 2-horse race in my mind. Very clear 2-horse race. It's going to be the Fighting Irish versus the Trojans. And this is Michael Mayer versus Jordan Addison. This is the pick to me.
And there they are, both of them right there. I completely agree. Both those guys, I think, are home. Even Zay Flowers. I mean, there's so much talent here available for the Chargers. I mean, I don't know if this could have gone any better for them outside of Bijan Robinson still being available. It's almost unfair how much. I mean, Cansey sitting there, it'd be hard to not take Cansey, the guy that's getting compared to Aaron Donald, which is obviously not fair because Aaron Donald is one of one, but still a guy that is an interior that. I mean, let's be real. I know that the Chargers have invested some in the interior in the free agency, but I wouldn't even be mad at that if they took a guy like Cansey, who's a potential top 10 pick that falls at 21. So Nolan Smith,
and I agree with our man Dallas. I mean, Nolan Smith. Oh, geez, this is really tough. This is really tough.
Yeah, Cansey's there.
I'm gonna go
Nolan
Mayer,
Smith.
Ryan. I'm gonna go Mayer. I think that he's got the ability to be an all-pro tight end and have a 12, 14-year career. And when you look at how Kellen Moore utilizes the tight end, you already have Allen, you've already got Williams, given Herbert, it's time to really unlock Justin Herbert here and give him all the tools he needs to be successful. Smith, I have a flirtation with Smith here. I'd like to, from a draft bumble perspective, I'm really giving Smith a look. But I think to me, it's Mayer. I'm going to go in on Mayer.
What does Zay Flowers do for you?
Not much. Not much.
Man.
Because if I'm going receiver, then I'm going Addison. I mean, Addison to me is so far above everyone else. I mean, when you just put the tape on in terms of route running, in terms of just precision, the guy was an NFL receiver last year playing college football. He would be an incredible number 3 receiver for the Chargers, in line to be a top 2 receiver for them very, very quickly. Addison, Mayer, Smith. I mean, I like Smith, but to me, I go back to it's Addison or Mayer. So I leave it to you, Ryan. It's your call.
Well, it's not my call. We'll agree. Yes, Zay Flowers is. I think he's going to be a good receiver. He's a high prospect. I think he's. I don't want to say it's disrespectfully, but in my opinion, has risen the ranks a little too much. I think Addison's proven it. I think Addison's to me in this draft. Jackson Smith and Jigma is wide receiver 1, and Jordan Addison is 1B. I think they're very close. I think.
I mean, the fact that Addison is on the board here is what's surprising, right? I mean, because
it's throwing me off. It's throwing me off. Okay. It's Addison. So, but for me, it's Addison, Mayer, Smith, and even Cansey. And all right, we'll go Mayer. Let's go Mayer. I'll defer to you, Jamal.
Safe pick. Yeah, I think Mayer is the safe pick.
I don't personally love taking a tight end that high. Nothing against tight ends, but I think, and you made a really good point, in Kellen Moore's system, how often they run 12 personnel, they don't have a true 3-down tight end right now. I love Gerald Everett, but he's more of a athletic, big-bodied receiver type tight end. And then Trey McKitty is purely a blocking tight end, whereas Michael Mayer can do it all. And so they get that pure tight end. And so you can't go wrong, I think, with really any of those 5 guys that we listed there in that first round. So, all right. So now we sit here, no second round pick, remember, because of the Khalil Mack trade. We go to the 3rd round, pick 54, or this is, late second round, pick 54. What position are you liking here? And I'll just kind of roll through these.
I'm kind of looking linebacker here. I don't know about you, linebacker, even corner. Those are the 2 I'm kind of looking at. Really linebacker.
All right, let's look, and then I'll give my 2 cents. But let's look at some. We'll just pull backers here. Got Henley.
Man, I really like Overshawn.
Yeah. I think we can get him later.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I think we can get each, not to play that
Yeah, but they're
card of waiting, but I think we can get both.
No, I think Overshawn and Sewell we can do later. Yep. But those are the two to keep your eye on there.
And what was the other position you said?
I think corner makes a lot of sense too. I think even receiver. So
Garrett Williams, who if you watched
Ooh,
our
Phillips.
Rams segment.
Clark Phillips.
Ooh. Yeah.
Give me Clark Phillips.
It would be tough to beat. He might not be there at 85 at our next pick.
Give me Clark Phillips. I'm going to take Clark Phillips here.
Okay, so you're on Clark. I'll make the case. This is what I will say for my case. I really like Nathaniel Tank Dell here at
that's your guy.
Yeah, I like him. He's actually our buddy Dan is like maybe too high on him. Dan thinks he's Dan loves him. There's no disrespect to Dan, but Dan's gotten me onto him a little bit as well. And I just think he does provide an element to this receiving core that is not there currently. And if they don't go receiver in the first round, gives you that speed, that verticality. And if we're talking about how they went all in on the defense last year in free agency and some draft picks, and this is the year to really unleash Justin Herbert truly, especially with Kellen Moore. You get him a tight end in round one. Now you give him the vertical threat, and you have the likes of Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Joshua Palmer, and Tank Dell. I mean, and then Michael Mayer. I mean, you're looking at.
No, I agree, Ryan. I mean, as much as I love Clark Phillips, it's a need thing, it's a system thing. I totally agree. I followed Dell a lot last year, and Houston made a lot of noise, especially earlier in the season. Let's go, Mr. Dell.
All right, Tank Dell it is. I'm glad I convinced you, salesman. Tighten my tie. All right, so now we get to 85. So we've gone tight end, receiver.
Yep.
Ooh, Charbonnet goes to the Rams there. Must have been a trade up. I saw across the screen. All right. I mean, you could still get a very good corner here in Garrett Williams.
Yeah, we could go Garrett Williams.
Tomlinson.
We can go Tomlinson. I kind of like Tomlinson for that system, to be honest with you. I think the way the Chargers play, I really like Tomlinson in that spot, to be honest with you. Let's just see what we have at linebacker as well.
All right. Let's go linebacker. Still got Overshawn and Sewell. We pick again at 125.
We're fine. I really like Tomlinson in this spot, Ryan. I just think, he was so much of the conversation was around Duggan and that offense and what Sonny Dykes was running. But man, Tomlinson was the heart and soul of that defense and that team, and came up in some huge spots in the Big 12. I really like him here. I think he brings an attitude that I think this secondary needs.
Yeah, I agree. So we made the pick. Still unknown if or when J.C. Jackson will be back. So certainly does not hurt grabbing a corner here to pair up. They're losing some in free agency as well. So you need some depth there alongside, and so I think that's a great pick there. So I saw one of our linebackers get taken. Let's see, are they both gone? I didn't think they both got gone. Jamal, there you go.
What happens, Rye? This is
what happens. Let's see. Where did Sewell go? Sewell went to the Broncos. And Overshawn.
See, the Broncos are smart.
To the Eagles. Pretty quickly after us.
Where are we at running back?
Running back. We got McBride out of UAB. Tucker. Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn could be okay, here's my thing with Deuce Vaughn. I love Deuce Vaughn. I mean, dude, watching him at Kansas State, was so fun. Explosive, twitchy, everything you want from a smaller back. And my only, I don't want to say fear, but my only reason for not taking him is the similarities between him and Austin Ekeler to me.
Yeah.
And I could be crazy. Call me out if I am. But to me, it seems like a too similar style back to take, where I'd rather have, like, if we were taking Zach Charbonnet, it's like, okay, that's a completely different back than Austin Ekeler. Now, I know they just got Isaiah Spiller, who's your big-bodied back last year, but we didn't see him at all last year. So who knows what he'll even look like in this offense with Joshua Kelley, with Kellen Moore at the helm. Now, if we're going purely on just, hey, let's take a back that has pure talent, I would go Deuce Vaughn here because that's how good I think he is. But how do we feel about him meshing and fitting with the likes of Austin Ekeler?
I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, the other guy who's, jumping off the page to me is Sean Tucker. I mean, you're talking about, over 3,000 yards at Syracuse over the last 3 years. But similar guy, 5'10", 205. I mean, he's even more like Ekeler than Deuce Vaughn is, I would argue. I think Deuce Vaughn has a little bit more burst and versatility in a lot of ways. So
Chargers Chris wants all offense here.
He wants all offense, baby. I love it.
Yeah.
The fastest get paid and the fastest get laid. That's what that's what Charger 8 is saying right there. In the words of Will Ferrell.
yes.
So,
do we go back here?
I don't know. I think I'd hold off. I think at this point for me, I would love, I'd love a really good linebacker in this spot. Actually, Ventrell from Florida, Ventrell Miller, that's a good spot.
Let's see if he's still here. So yes, he is. So at this point,
we could get him. You know what? Why though? But I mean, what do you do at running back, right? I mean, you need a 2-back system here to a certain extent. With Kellen Moore. I mean, so what's the thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume, and they say you should never assume, but I would assume going into this year, you're looking at Ekeler and Kelley being your Zeke and Pollard, but opposite, obviously, Kelley being like the Zeke role. And now Isaiah Spiller is obviously that big bodied back that I assume that they'll really actually give a true college try this year. Just never really got the opportunity last year, which is one of life's greatest mysteries. But I definitely think, Jamal, they'll take another back. I know fans don't want to hear that, but I just think they're going to take another back this year just out of that room. Now, is it going to be at this pick 125 or is it going to be later down the line on like a flyer? I don't know. I like Ventrell Miller, to your point. I just don't know. I mean, you're starting Kenneth Murray and Kendrick Perkins, excuse me. Do you want to take a backer? I mean, not that this is like early by any means, but I don't know. I'll let you decide on this pick. You tell me who you want.
I'm going to go Deuce. I'll be honest with you. I think let's
okay.
There's no guarantee that Ekeler we both think Ekeler is going to come back, but I kind of like the element that Deuce brings here, to be honest with you. And I think you need one. The only thing with Tucker is, it's a lot of tread on the tires. So I'm going to go Deuce here. Let's roll the dice a little bit.
The pick is in. Deuce it is. Our guy Mekhi Blackman went to the Broncos, USC Trojans corner. So, no, I love Deuce. Like I said, I think it's a similar style to Ekeler, but Deuce is, dude, he's so talented. Anyone out there, if you have not watched the K-State game from last year, just throw on a K-State game and you can see how dynamic Deuce is and how funny he is to watch. So, all right, cool. I like that. All righty. So we got 3 picks left, Jamal. I mean, this is just popping out at me, the fact that this guy's fallen this far and we could potentially use, I know fans don't want to hear it, but we could use some more safety depth.
Yes, I agree.
Nasir Adderley retired. Obviously Derwin and Alohi are probably our interim starters. I mean, obviously Derwin, but Alohi Gilman probably going to be starting alongside him. But it's not going to hurt.
Value here with Anthony Johnson. He played in some big games at Iowa State. With the likes of OU and Texas and Oklahoma State and Baylor and TCU and just all the different defenses that he saw over the course of last year and over the course of his career. Made a huge impact. You're looking at a guy who's basically valued in the top 70 and you're at 156 here. Hard to look away. I think Anthony Johnson Jr. is the right move here.
I think so. And Staley has proven that he loves safeties, loves taking safeties. I know they drafted for sure one. Did they draft 2 safeties last year, Jamal? Or am I mixing up with the Rams? I know they took Woods in the second.
Yeah, I think it might have just been Woods.
Okay, then the Rams I think took 2, so they all blend together after a year. But yeah, you're losing Adderley. I think you replace him. I mean, let's just do that. And Staley can use him versus all over the field. Again, we don't know what's going on with JC Jackson. I talk all the time, and I know you agree, but I talk all the time how Brandon Staley doesn't view secondary guys as corners and safeties. He views them as defensive backs and likes to use them as so all over the field. So if you can get a guy with that value this late, I think that's a no-brainer. So I know people don't want to see adding defense, but hey, can't say no to the best player available right there. So 2 picks left, Jamal. Here we are in the 6th round, pick 200. I know you've been wanting a backer. Got DTR here. Let's look at the backers, since I know that's been one that.
Yeah, maybe we look at the backers.
Ventral. All right, I like Ventral here. He's still there.
My guy. I mean, I think at that spot there's tremendous value here. I'd go Ventrell here.
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. No-brainer there. Add some. You didn't re-sign Troy Reader, who you brought in last year as a free agent, so need some depth there outside of your starters in Kendricks and Kenneth Murray. So I think that adds some fun depth there. And then final pick for our Chargers. We haven't touched the offensive line at all. Don't know if we really necessarily need to, other than depth. What are we thinking here? Let's see. We got.
I mean, Marty Mapu was part of the system, that with the coach that ultimately went to Stanford. Got Jake Andrews. Oh, Nealon, but with the
injury.
Well, that was Voorhees.
Nealon was. Yeah, you're right. Voorhees was the injury in the combine. Nealon was hurt in the Pac-12 title game, but he should be good to go. And Nealon's an underrated guy that giving you depth behind Linsley.
Absolutely, everyone. The Nealon nudge, and just he captained that offensive line, and you can never underestimate the value of a center at the NFL position, and someone who's intelligent, who can be there, who's tough, who's professional, durable. That was kind of a fluke injury in the Pac-12 title game. I'm leaning Nealon here, Ryan, unless you feel there's a glaring position of need here at 239.
Do you think? And I can answer this myself. I'll just ask you: does Nealon offer versatility across the line? Because they got Will Clapp right now as their backup center. Does Nealon give you versatility, or is he a true center?
No. He's a true center.
So, do we want? And Will Clapp, I think, maybe has some versatility, but that's the question: do we want essentially 3 centers on the roster and add depth elsewhere, or do we feel that it's worth having those 3 because we can maybe move Clapp and Linsley has been great since being here, but he tends to miss a game or 2 since he's been in town, and we've seen different centers have to step up.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I mean, we could add tackle depth potentially. We got Jordan McFadden here.
I mean, if we're going tackle depth, I'd go McFadden. He was a stud at Clemson, and there's versatility there. I agree with you. I think Nealon's a little redundant. I'd go McFadden.
Yeah,
I'd go McFadden here.
I think Let's just see real quick. We did not add any depth at edge. Which, outside of the starting 2, is a spot that could use some depth here. Now, in terms of value, I think we're going to get better tackle value here. But do any of these guys to you jump off as like, hey, that's worth taking the 7th? I think we're getting the weeds down there. So I think we got to go tackle here.
I think I'd go, Jeremiah Martin, but I think you could get him undrafted. I'd go McFadden here, to be honest with you. And then you can use him as a trade chip if you need to.
I think so. So, yeah, edge is one we didn't take. I think that's one that could certainly get addressed at some point. But I do think this will be a more heavy offensive draft when you look at the weaknesses last year in the offense and then also in who you brought in Kellen Moore. So
yes.
A-, we'll take it. Look at that. Look at that back end. All A's.
Look at that.
Deuce
All
with the one
A's.
B-.
I mean, people are getting, and then Nathaniel Dell. We actually got hammered for the Mayer pick. That's crazy. You know, if it wasn't for Mayer, we probably get a solid A. I don't know how you don't take Mayer there. I mean, I guess the argument is there's enough tight ends, you know, in rounds 2, 3, 4 that are quality. But I just think, you know, Mayer's got the ability to be an all-pro, and I think you wanna make that happen. Charger Acres, you screwed the pooch in round 3. Oh, with Tomlinson. Well, you know, PFF sort of agreed with us there with an A, but that's the beauty of the draft. You know, you can agree to disagree. I like where we are. This is a solid draft, Ryan.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can never have too many corners. I know it's a weird statement to say, but I think we've seen injuries, especially with this Chargers team. I mean, just 2 years ago, we were down to our corner 4 being corner 1. And so I don't think it hurts to take a talented guy at that position at corner or safety, or as like I said, as Brandon Staley likes to say, as just a defensive back. So we'll see. But let us know how you guys think. That's our first mock draft. You know, here we are already in April. We finally did our first one. So maybe we'll do another 1 or 2 of these before the draft. But that is all the time we got for LA Football Live Chargers Edition. We'll be back next Monday at 6:30. Thank you, Chargers fans, for joining us. We'll be doing our regular recorded show later in the week. So everyone, talk to you there. And we'll be on Twitter at Ryan Dyrud LAFB, at LAFB Jams. Everyone, appreciate you. Jamal, thank you. Talk to you Bruins fans here, or excuse me, Trojans fans here in just a sec. See you all in just a minute.